All right, let's get into another bit of a flow type of practice. I would classify this as a vinyasa style of class where we're trying to connect the poses sort of seamlessly. We're definitely moving with our breath from time to time. Um, there's a couple new poses that we're just going to learn on the fly. Warrior two, triangle, and yoga squat. But just going to get into those as we go. Let's get into our practice. Let's make it happen. I've got a blanket to give myself a little bit of knee padding for some low lunges that we're going to do. Got a couple blocks. If you want to grab something similar, do it to it. You know there ain't nothing to it. Hit pause, go get it. Otherwise, get down, let's go. Come onto your back. Let's bring both hands onto the belly. Close the eyes and just feel the support of the earth underneath your spine, the back of your head, the bottoms of your feet. Start to slow your breath down. Get deep into that diaphragm as you inhale. And as you exhale, let it return back up into its dome shape toward the heart, squeezing every little last drop of breath out. Acknowledge your physical self. Check in with that. Acknowledge your mental self and your emotional self, but know that they're all part of one whole. And in fact, I want you to visualize your next couple of deep, deep, deep breaths, lassoing those three, integrating them together. And I want you to keep that feeling the best you can throughout the rest of our practice. You don't need a strap or anything like that. Just take your left leg straight up to the sky, interlace the fingers around, and straighten it as much as you can, even if that means lowering it a little, bending the knee a little. You're just trying to work that leg towards straight, pulling the toes back towards your face, keeping the breath deep, keeping it groovy. Spread those toes a little bit. In fact, let's take a couple of ankle circles here, nice and slow, not trying to break any world speed records, kind of like you're moving through mud. And then we'll slowly straighten the right leg out for a moment. Straighten both legs as best you can. Take your straight left leg out to the side just for one exhale, and then circle it toward the right foot, and then take it across your body for like the biggest hip circle of all time. Do that 3 times, thrice around. Don't worry about how big your circle is. You're not comparing it to anything. You're just having some fun with it. Go the other direction, out to the side, and then across the body. Maybe you want to linger here for a second and just say, ooh, okay, this twist. Felt a little spinal pop there. That was nice. 2 more. And again, these aren't really fast, but you don't need to go super slow-mo either. Somewhere in between. Draw that knee into the chest, give it a nice squeeze. Place that left foot flat onto the ground. Catch an inhale. So really time this up. Let's start to move with the breath as we bring our right leg straight up to the sky and the arms interlace behind the leg to support and work towards straightening that right leg. So wiggle your head and neck around a little bit, take any tension that might be creeping up from your shoulders into your neck or your jaw and face, and just like let that go. Put a smile on your mouth and just like, hey, man, it's not that serious. A couple of circles here with the foot, or ankle circles, if you will. And then slowly start to straighten that left leg out, really reaching both legs, both sets of toes pulled back toward the face. And then take this right leg out to the side, and then keep it going on a nice big circle. Keep that big circle going across your body, and then back up. That's one. That's two. Just notice what muscles have to work to make this happen. Notice where you feel any stretch or sensation. And then once you get to three, you're going the opposite direction. Maybe that first one, you linger in the twist for a second. Adjust your spine as needed. 3 times in this direction. And notice if it looks like a circle or an oval or an octagon with the shape that you're going. You're not judging it here. You're just kind of noticing, though, again. Be easy. Be easy with yourself. And then back to center. One last grab. Give it a nice squeeze out. And then bend that knee. Set it down. Place both feet flat onto the ground. And just start to tilt your pelvis forward so your lower back comes up off the ground. And then tilt your pelvis backwards so your lower back flattens into the ground. Do that one more time. Inhale. Your back is going to arch off the ground as you tilt the pelvis forward. And then we're going to seal the back onto the ground as we tilt our pelvis backward. Now keep it like that. You can almost feel your tailbone kind of tucking underneath you. We're going to keep that action happening. On your inhale, sweep the arms all the way up and overhead alongside your ears. And as you exhale, sweep the arms like you're going to paint the ceiling with your hands. Lift your head and shoulders up off of the ground. Keep your lower back flat. Palms face upward. Orange in between the chin and your chest. So there's a little bit of space. Eyes up at the ceiling. Holding here. Oh yeah. Breathing deeply. Now, from here, we're going to stay up. We're thinking about our shoulder blades, those bony little wings on our back. On an exhale, we're going to try to reach our fingers forward and get those maybe a little bit further up off the ground. Don't strain your neck to do this. You're working your abdominals. Now, finish your exhale by pulling your belly in and pulling it up towards your heart. So we're really helping that diaphragm go back home. Are you too good for your home? Squeeze it all out, and then inhale. Take that breath down, take the diaphragm down toward the belly. You can let yourself fade a little bit here. Don't go all the way down though. Keep the head and shoulders lifted. On the exhale, belly starts to pull down. You start to slide the fingers forward. You're going to vacuum this out. You're going to hold that breath out. You're going to squeeze it up toward the heart and really kind of wrap the abdominal wall down. Inhale, a little bit of fade, not all the way. You can interlace your fingers behind your head if you need to for one or two, but we are trying to build some stability in the neck with this exercise. So if you cannot, don't. If you need to, do. Listen to your breath, not your mind. Your mind will lie to you. Your mind's a tricky one. I mean, I'll tell you some good stuff, don't get me wrong. But let's stay with this. Couple more breaths, about 3 more breaths. Really emphasizing the exhale, really pulling that belly down, emptying it out completely as you squeeze. Linger. Inhale, surrender, not all the way. If you've had your hands behind your head for the last breath or two, go ahead and release them. 2 more breaths. Now, on this last one, I really want you to emphasize not only pulling your belly down and taking it up toward the heart, but also try to curl your tailbone a little bit further up. So you're tilting your pelvis backwards a little bit more. Emphasize, squeeze, and release. Right ankle on top of the left knee. You can take one or two flippers here with the right knee, but if you're not feeling a whole lot there, we're going to move right into thread the needle. If you are feeling a whole lot there, take another couple flippers. But do come into this pose. Both hands grab onto the left leg. That's our lever leg. Spreading the toes, pulling it back toward the knees. Just to stabilize here. Notice if your breath feels any differently after some abdominal work, if things aren't starting to heat up a little bit. Really important that we get into our hips here for some of these new poses we got cooking. So don't front on this pose. Don't just hang out in Nowheresville. Start to creep into a place where you're getting some feedback. You're making some opening happen. One more deep breath here. On your last exhale, it might not be right this second, but when it does come, I want you to lift your head and shoulders up off the ground, pull that belly down, take it up toward the heart, squeeze yourself into a ball, get those shoulder blades up off the ground, and then release. Before we go over to the next side, I feel like we should do another round of abdominals, don't you? I just feel like it's going to really open some things up some more. So again, tilt the pelvis backwards, seal the back into the ground. Notice if you're like not stoked about these abdominals, let that go and just be with what is. Like you're an amazing person. You can handle it. You got this. Inhale, sweeps the arms up. Keep that lower back sealed. It likes to pop up when the arms go. Exhale, here we go. Head and shoulders lift. Keep pulling that exhale down. Keep squeezing those shoulder blades forward. And watch the tendency to like just jut your head and neck forward. Chin comes into the chest like, oh, I'm lifting so much. No, you're not. You're just tilting your head forward. Keep it neutral. Inhale deeply here. Might be really challenging to breathe down into your abdominals as they're working. That's the point. Challenge yourself. If you don't do it to some expected version of what you think you should do, stop expecting things. Just try it and see what shows up. All right, we're going to be here for a couple of breaths, so be with it. If you need to take 2 breaths with your hands behind your head to support your neck, I fully support that. Now remember, not only are we vacuuming the diaphragm up toward the heart at the end of our exhale, but we're also sliding our tailbone forward and trying to scoop it up. So that'll even lift you like another ½ inch to an inch. Inhale can fade you a little bit, or you might want to stay up as high as you can in this round as you inhale. Not an easy thing. Can you keep reaching forward? Can you keep reaching the shoulder blades up off the ground while the back of your head sort of descends a little bit to help create that neutral neck? Don't forget to curl that tailbone forward and up at the end of the exhale. Reach your hands forward if they're behind your head. Here we go. We're in the last breath or two. If you're a slow breather, it's 1 breath. If you're a fast breather, it's 2. Let this be your last exhale, though, the one that you're coming up to right now. Squeezing it down, vacuuming. Maybe linger for a minute. Like just hold the breath out and really squeeze and see if you can just like notice the sensation. Curl that tailbone up a little bit more. And on the inhale, lower it on down. Left ankle on top of the right thigh. Flipper here and just pause for a moment. Maybe the hands want to come onto the belly. Feeling the work that you've done. And then when you're ready, grab onto the right leg, the lever leg, head and shoulders relax down here. You're flexing the toes back towards your knees. Your face is relaxed. Your right leg is pulling into your chest. The left ankle is pushing in the opposite direction, getting your squeeze on. Next exhale, not this one, the next one. We're going to curl up into that ball, kind of similar to how we were working the abdominals. So the exhale, the head and shoulders lift. This time your chin can come into your chest. Curl the tailbone, squeeze everything into as tight a ball as you can. Notice the feeling. And then release. Pausing for a moment, eyes closed, breath deep. All right. Now we're going to start to rock and roll ourselves all the way up into a tabletop position. Get some momentum, cross your ankles, and gracefully set yourself up. Now, if you're on an inhale, hit a cow. If you're on an exhale, hit a cat. And then when that next breath comes, you do the opposite movement. So cow, what I'm demonstrating right this moment is an inhale. Cat is that Halloween cat back. Chin all the way into the chest, squeeze it out. 2 more. Now from here, you're going to transition yourself back to downward facing dog, and we're going to walk that dog out. So bend the left knee, straighten the right leg, push the hips up and back actively. Bending the right knee, switch it over, left leg straightens. Just notice where you find the sensation, and instead of dedicating all of your mental energy to it, and maybe wanting to get out of there, you focus on the breath, switching sides again, right leg straight. Right knee bends, left leg straight. And then bending both legs as you literally walk your feet all the way to the front and hang out low. Let your arms hang and just sway a little side to side. Let your head hang low. And then one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. That chin's the last thing to come up. Shoulders start to roll onto the back naturally. Chin lifts. Pause here. Orient yourself in the standing position. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. And then come into stillness. Without looking at your feet, I said without looking at your feet. Try to position your feet so they're parallel and they're right underneath your hips. If you feel like you've got it, go ahead and test yourself and look. My feet aren't quite parallel, they're a little turned out. I'm just going to make that little adjustment, make whatever adjustment you need. And we're going to rock into the sun salutation to the Shivananda tradition, trying to get into this hip flexor, this psoas. Here we go. On exhale, arrive. All 4 corners of both feet root down. Finish the exhale completely. Inhale, sweep the arms forward as you reach up. As you reach up, start to come back for standing arch. Only go so far back as you can without getting into your lower back here. And then exhale, forward fold all the way down and in. Keep the exhale going the entire time. Step your right foot back. Drop the right knee to the floor. Inhale, look on up. This is where you can have your block, you can have your blanket, padding. We'll actually take an extra breath here. Now, at the top of your next inhale, you're going to hold your breath in and we're going to go to plank. But like, wait for that to happen. Don't be in a rush. Most of our lives are spent in a rush. Wait for it. When it comes, top of a push-up, holding the breath in. Now, if you want to just lower to a low plank, you can, but this is a knees, chest, and chin situation. Shoulder blades squeeze together, hips back. Inhale, pull yourself forward to flatten out for cobra. Shoulder loop, pulling together and down. Exhale, downward facing dog. Now we step back with the right foot, so we're going to step forward with the left. Maybe you have to grab it and yank it in between your hands, but get a nice wide stance from front to back. Back knee comes onto the ground. I did that wrong. It should have been the other leg, but we're going to rock with it. We're going to do this two times anyway, so we're staying with the same side we started with. Looking up, shoulders pulled down. So a low lunging cow. Use these back toes. Spring yourself all the way forward into a forward fold. Inhale, root down through your heels, lifting up to go back, standing arch. And exhale, paint your hands forward. Finish the exhale in mountain, and then immediately catch the next inhale to go back to standing arch for the second side. So we'll do the left leg back, both at the beginning and after downward facing dog. Exhale, forward fold. Keep exhaling. Step the left foot back now. Left knee comes onto the ground. Low lunging cow. Looking up, shoulders pull back. I'm going to take an extra full breath here. Maybe exhale, drop the hips, bend into that front knee a bit more. On the second inhale, work the shoulders, work the chest forward and up a little bit more. Hold the breath in. You know what you're doing. Plank. Option here that works best for you as you lower. Just do it with control. Inhale for cobra. Shoulders might start up to the ears just to give you that first lift. Helps you pull the shoulder blades together, but then get those Batman pajamas down the back for that final cobra lift. Exhale to downward facing dog. All right. So since I altered the first round, we're going to alter the second round. We're going to step our right foot forward. And if it doesn't quite go all the way, we're going to grab it and yank it. Back knee drops down. Low lunging cow. One big inhale here. Really go for it. And then exhale, spring forward, forward fold. Inhale, root down into the heels. Reach it up to reach it back. And then exhale. Hands come down. Close your eyes and pause. If you want to bring one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, please do. If you want to bring both hands together at your heart, maybe even bow a little bit. Tap into some inner wisdom. Tap into some silence, some stillness as best you can. One more round to sort of warm us up before we go into our new poses. Sun salutation with the addition of low lunge and half splits. Here we go. The inhale, arms out to the side, huge circle as you lift up, shoulders pull down. Exhale, bend the knees, swan dive down and in. Straighten the knees as you come to the end of your exhale, chin all the way into the chest. Touch it. Inhale, float it up halfway. Take that round out of your back. Shoulders squeeze back behind you, weight forward. And then exhale, bend the knees, hands come down, right foot steps back, Right knee comes onto the ground. Again, if you need a little padding, if you got the yoga mat, you can take half of it and fold it underneath, whatever you need to do. We're not going to stay in low lunging cow. We're actually going to build this up into a low lunge. Start with the hands on the front thigh. Maybe the left foot walks a little bit wider. Feel it, squeeze it. So right knee pushes into the ground, drags forward. Left foot pushes down, drags backward. Keep that action happening in the lower body. Inhale, arms up, shoulders down. Try to work your arms back behind your ears without puffing the chest. Rib cage loop, draw it in. A lot happening. One more huge inhale here. Nice. Now, exhaling, pour the hands all the way down. Inhale, step back to plank. Half splits are coming in a minute. Don't worry. Exhale, lower. Hover, pause. Heart first, belly second. Inhale for cobra. Maybe getting a little bit higher. Getting that breath a little bit deeper on your inhale. Exhale back. Now we are going to stay on the same side. We had our right foot back. We're going to keep the right foot back. We'll do a second round to address the second side of our body. So the left foot is going to step in between the hands. Look in between the hands. Look at the left foot. All right, big guy, you got this. Left foot all the way up. Right knee comes down. Inhale, sweep the arms right up into a low lunge. We were just here. Work the alignment, work the squeeze. Now, exhale, hands come down, straighten the front leg, slide that heel forward, half splits. If you don't remember, hips are above the knee, toes are pulling back toward the face. Head comes down. Inhale, float up halfway. Another great time for some blocks or something to raise the ground up. Exhale, dive it in. Maybe you forward fold in this like a half of an inch. Like your halfway lift out of it and your fold into it are barely distinguishable. That's okay. Do what you can do. Be honest with yourself. Listen to your breath, not your mind. All right, so now we'll just kind of rock a little to and fro action. Inhale, forward. Hands stay down for some low lunging cow. Exhale, straighten the left leg for some half splits. Inhale, 2. Exhale, fro. Last one. And inhale, forward, shoulders pull back, look up. Exhale, draw it back. Now we will come forward in this one last time, just to set it up. Back toes are tucked underneath, and then spring it forward as you exhale, finish in a forward fold. A little bit deeper, grabbing onto the ankles. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Exhale, close it down, pause. Inhale, arms to the sky, stay with it. I know you might be like, whoa, I'll hit you with the child's pose in a second. Exhale, forward fold. We'll get there when we get to downward facing dog. We'll give ourselves a little bit of time in child's trust. Inhale, halfway up. Stay with this moment. Don't project into the future. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come down, left foot steps back, left knee comes to the floor. Hands come up onto the front thigh. Maybe walk that right foot out. Squeeze the legs, scissor them into one another. That's a huge part of the active foundation here. Huge part of your balance. Arms all the way up to the sky. Again, the arms are reaching back. Rib cage is looping in. You're still trying to bend into that front knee. Much more here than meets the eye. And then go ahead, hands pour down. Step back into plank. Exhale, lower halfway. And cobra. So that'll be the last time we do any low planks or cobras. So go ahead, find yourself in the child's pose. So we still are going to do our half splits on this other side, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a break here. I want to give you a time to reconnect with your breath rhythm. Smooth it out as best you can. Maintaining an even pressure throughout the entire exhale, even pressure throughout the entire inhale. Trying to do that. It might not always work, but you're trying. Here we go. Back to downward facing dog, nice and slowly. So we're working with the left leg back on this round. So that means the right foot's got to step forward. Look it between the hands. Hey guys, here comes that right foot. Look at the right foot. All right, big fella. Boom, step it forward. Ear pod out, ear pod back in. Arms raised to the sky. I got skills like that. Exhale, half splits. Set it up. I have to slide my right heel forward to get there. Reposition. Exhale, you're going to fold in. Inhale, you're going to float out. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, reach through the crown of your head. Pulling those toes back towards your face. All right. Finish and exhale. You're going to inhale, coming back to low lunge. Keep those hands down for the low lunging cow. Exhale, pull back to half splits. Inhale, creeping forward. And exhale, sliding back. Follow your breath. You know what we're doing now. Your last exhale is happening when it's happening. Inhale, hands forward. Low lunging cow to exhale, spring forward, forward fold. Chin all the way into the chest. Inhale, arms all the way out to the side. And exhale, pause and mountain. So again, another little bit of a check-in here. Catch your breath. And if you ever need to, just hit pause and just kind of chill a little bit longer. That's fine. Just don't hit pause and go to the fridge to get a snack or go check your phone. If you're pausing, pause everything. Just settle into your breath, whether you're standing in child's pose, even if you want to lay on your back. And then come back up, unpause it, and let's get into it. So now here we come, some new poses. Warrior 2 in triangle in the mix. Yoga squat to end it all out. Here we go. We're going to kind of play this off of Sun Salutation B, but I'm going to make some variations here because we're getting rid of the low plank and cobra. What we're not getting rid of though is chair pose. So either feet together or feet hip width apart, bend the knees, sit the butt way back, stick it out, and then draw the lower ribs in. So that rib cage loop, that's going to get the lower back protected by taking the front abdominals strong. Arms up alongside the ears, 2 breaths here. We're sitting back into our heels. You should be able to lift all 10 toes up off the ground. In fact, lift all 10 toes up off the ground. Spread them wide. Keep them spread, put them back down. You got this. Keep the abdominals engaged to protect the lower back. When your next exhale comes, bring your chest to your thighs and then straighten your knees for a forward fold. Inhale, half fold. Exhale, bend the knees, hands come down. Step the right foot back. Now, we're in a high lunge with the hands down. We're going to stay here for a moment because remember, there's a subtle difference between high lunge and warrior one, and that's this back leg. So you can see my back heel's up off the ground. Now I'm just going to pick it up and I'm going to spin that heel down. My toes are now pointing. If I was on a clock, they'd be pointing towards, they're not pointing straight forward to 12. They're not pointing straight out to the side toward 3. They're kind of like towards like 2 o'clock-ish. All right, so that's the general area of the angle we're going to take. Arms come up, warrior one. So warrior one, our arms are straight up and down like the number 1. Our chest is pretty much forward. Maybe not as forward as lunge would allow us because this hip's slightly open. All right, now for the transition. Take your arms straight forward. Stop at the shoulder height. Now open this right arm up and send it back. Now our arms are like a T, like the number 2, warrior 2. Yeah, you got it. We have to set up our legs though, all right? So we're going to take this front foot and we're going to heel, toe it a little bit over. So the front heel intersects the back arch. Now, this back foot, instead of it reaching kind of pointing towards about 2 o'clock or so, now we're going to turn it so it'll be facing toward 3. And here we go. Back leg is strong and straight. Weight is more toward the pinky edge of that back foot, but don't overdo it. Keep that happening. That's like your anchor. Now bend into the front knee as far as you can. Breathe it out. Now, make sure your front knee, look at it. Make sure it's pointing toward the second and third toe. Sometimes it likes to collapse in toward the big toe. We're only going to be here for one more breath. Hold on to it. I know you got this. Gaze straight forward. Good. Now go ahead and straighten that front leg. Now we're going to walk this back foot in a little bit. So heel, toe, heel, toe. And we're going to make that same kind of pivot that we did with warrior one. So the toes are kind of facing not straight out to the side, but slightly forward. Triangle. Have a look at my legs. Straight, straight. 2 sides of the triangle. The floor is the third side. Triangle pose. Trying to give you some ways to remember these names. Now, this hip, our front hip, we're going to pull that back. It's like if someone had their hand in your pocket and we're pulling it back. That's the sort of action that you want. Now, while that's happening, you're going to reach your left arm out like you're trying to get that like last ripe avocado on the branch. Squeezing your legs, especially if you're on carpet, right? You got to keep squeezing your legs in for that stability. You don't want to slide out. Now we're going to tilt ourselves, put our hand right below our knee. We don't want to put on top. We're not going to try to put pressure on that hinge joint, just below it. And then top arm to the sky. Now, some people in this pose, they want to reach all the way down to their foot, but then they can't pull that hip pocket back. So it helps to kind of lift yourself up a little bit so you have that ability to work that left hip pocket back, crown of the head reaching forward, and a little bit of a rotation here. So arms straight up. Triangle pose. All right, we're going to take this top arm alongside of our ear, reach it, and then hand comes down. Spin the back heel up off the ground, push on back to downward facing dog. Whew. And then take a child's pose. Now, while you're in child's pose, I'm going to switch myself in the other direction. You don't have to, but just so you can see me on this second side. Please come into downward facing dog as we start to finish this sequence off. Now we're going to do the second side, so I want you to step your right foot forward in between your hands. Pause here for a high lunge with the hands down. Okay, feel this for a moment. You could bend in that front knee, but we're going to set up for warrior one. So spin the back heel down, toes slightly forward. Stay rooted in that back leg. Inhale, arms come up. Number one, warrior one. Bend that knee toward the second toe. A tendency can be back here is for this back leg to be bent and kind of loose and just sort of hanging out. Really fire it up. Keep it that way. And then arms face forward. Open it up for warrior two. Now, my arms are opening up. My hips are opening up. To reposition my feet, so heel toe, that front foot, so it intersects the back arch or the center of the back foot. And then you can turn those toes facing straight out to the side. Anchor down into that pinky side without overdoing it, and then bend as far as you can to that front knee. Now, if the knee goes past the ankle, just like in our lunges, that means we got to scooch ourselves more forward. Be careful you're not overdoing it, especially if you don't have something sticky to practice on. So I'm on a carpet here, so I'm at the same time, I'm sort of squeezing my legs together for that stability as I bend my knee, as I push my pinky edge of the foot onto the ground. Opposing action at its finest. Calm the breath here. One last big one. Knee toward that second toe. And then go ahead and straight. Back foot, heel toe, heel toe. So we're shortening our stance a little bit. And we're pivoting that heel back. We're in that warrior one style back leg. But we're keeping the front leg straight because here we go into triangle. Now that other hip pocket, your right hip pocket reaches back. Reach the right arm forward as that happens simultaneously. Most of you will probably feel a stretch just like right here, and that's fine. And then start to tilt sideways for triangle. Now, it's helpful to sort of push that big right toe down. That foot tends to want to kind of roll and creep up. So keep it rooted. Keep that right hip pocket pulling back. Both legs are strong and straight. And then slowly start to take that top arm over the top alongside your ear. Hands come down, pivot onto that back foot, head on back, downward facing dog. Now, as you're in downward facing dog, I'm going to reposition myself again. So you can have a look. In fact, everyone come on down to your knees and just watch here. You're going to come back to downward facing dog in a moment, but for now, you're going to walk yourself forward. Inhale your arms all the way up. We're not going to go back to chair. But for yoga squat, okay, we want to turn our feet out, maybe have our feet a little bit wider. So I'm kind of walking my feet out. And I'm going to exhale, lower straight down. Now, here's your first stopping point to take inventory. See what's happening. Arms are pressing into the legs are pressing back. If you can, slide lower, elbows inside the knees, and come all the way down into a full yoga squat or like a catcher squat. Shoulders pull back, crown of the head reaches up. Okay, go ahead and do that. So come up from your downward facing dog, or go back into downward facing dog, I guess, first. And then start to walk yourself forward. Come all the way up. Arms come up with you. Feet a little bit wider. And then start to lower yourself down. Now, a big tendency for people, especially if you're tight in your hips, is those heels are going to want to come up off the ground. All right. Try to get your feet a little bit wider and try to keep them down. It's okay if they come up, but we're trying to keep them down as best we can. Another big part of this is we're not just pushing our arms into our legs. The legs are pushing back into the arms as well. So you find wherever you need to be. And this is one where, your body might be talking to you, especially if you got some tightness in your lower body and the hips. So this is where I want you to divert your mental energy all into your breath. Instead of that chatter of like, I got to get out of here. What are we doing? How much longer are we going to be here? Exhale it out. 2 more breaths without rushing them. In fact, see if you can make these the slowest breath you've taken the entire time. When you are ready, hands come behind you. Go ahead and sit back. Shake the legs out a bit. Let's go into that seated one-legged forward fold, sometimes called head to knee pose, Janu Shirshasana. Bring your your left leg in. Right arm out to the side. Left arm up, take it across your body. Inhale, get tall, lift out to the spine. And then exhale, get a little bit deeper. Bring yourself a little bit closer, head to knee, without being attached to a destination. Maybe the other hand wants to come over and get involved. Toes pulling back toward the face. And then release. Switching sides. Should be your left leg mirroring you. Right leg comes in. Adjust as needed. Left fingertips to the ground, right arm up. And take it across the body. Be careful that the mind doesn't want to start wandering away into the things that you need to get done after your yoga practice. Trust me, they'll be there when you get done. No need to rush it right now. Instead, stay here, like right now. And in this pose, you can always take your inhales to sort of float halfway out, get length in the spine. Then when you exhale, use that length to drape it forward as you go down, forward as you go down. Finish and exhale, and then come out. Don't be in a rush. Come into easy pose, crossing your ankles. Your left arm up to the sky, right hand behind you, twist to the right. Inhale, lift up tall through the spine. Exhale, pull the belly in, bring it out. Unravel, switch the cross of your legs. Right arm up, left hand behind, twisting to the left on exhale. And then release here. Inhale, arms up, forward folding, over cross legs. So this is different than what we did in our last practice at the end. In the last practice, we either stacked our knees or stacked our shins, but this is what we did at the very beginning of our last practice. So just kind of noticing how it feels when you start your practice with it versus ending your practice with it. Just building some points of reference, noticing what you like as you take notes to kind of start to think about what you would want to do in your own time, your own practice. Switch the legs. Inhale, arms up, forward fold, wiggle your butt back. Now, whatever your preference is, you can take a seated position or you can come lying on your back for Shavasana, that corpse position. I'm going to totally leave it up to you. And I'm going to leave you in silence here, so I'm going to end our time together now. But I can't stress how important it is that you actually take at least 2 minutes to ground. The idea here is that we've stirred up a lot of energy, we've released and unlocked quite a bit through our deep breathing and holding our body in these different positions. So we don't want to just kind of go into life right now, no matter how pressing something you have is, take 2 minutes minimum and just ground and sit or lay down and be. So I'll let you to it. I hope you enjoyed your practice thus far, and I hope you really enjoy your relaxation here at the end. Drink plenty of water when you're done. Be nice to people, and I'll see you next time.